After years of sacrifice, my parents cut me out of their will, saying my role was to support my brother. I walked away, thinking that was the end, until they revealed a secret that changed everything. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd post something like this. But here we are. My family always saw me as the reliable one, the person who had to hold everything together while my brother floated through life. I carried that burden for years. Bills, repairs, bailouts, you name it. But stay with me, because what I eventually found out about why they depended on me so much turned my world upside down. As the younger brother, I thought life would come with fewer rules and less responsibility. Instead, it flipped. My older brother, Harry, was given endless leniency, while I got tied down with obligations. I'm Jacob, 27, and looking back, the favoritism is painfully obvious. Harry, 31, has never held a job longer than 6 months. He still lives with our parents, working on his music. And by music, I don't mean tours, albums, or even local gigs. I mean recording garage clips online that barely reach a few hundred views. My parents act like he's one step away from stardom. Delusional doesn't begin to cover it. Meanwhile, I've been patching every financial hole for years. When Dad needed back surgery and couldn't work, I paid the mortgage. When the furnace broke before winter, I wired the contractor the full amount. When Mom's medical bills piled up after their insurance lapsed, I covered them. I even paid their property taxes several times, including $2,100 last year alone. You'd think all that effort would earn me some gratitude. At the very least, a thank you. But no, the line was always the same. You'll be fine. Harry just needs help right now. That right now has stretched on for over a decade. I'm not a pushover though. I've got a career. I've built a life. I understood what was happening. They saw me as their safety net, and I let myself be used that way. One day, I was at their house, helping Dad with paperwork, as usual. He still can't figure out the printer-scanner combo after 10 years, so I was going through a stack of documents. Bills, medical forms, routine stuff. Then I noticed a cream-colored folder, neatly labeled in Mom's handwriting, estate plan, final copy. Normally, I wouldn't snoop, but two things stopped me. First, I just paid their property taxes. Second, I knew if I didn't look, I'd regret it. So I opened it. Inside was their will, notarized just 2 months ago. I skimmed through it and froze. The house? Harry. Retirement accounts? Harry. Life insurance? Harry. Everything? Harry. My name wasn't there at all. Not even a line about splitting things. Not even a thank you. Just the same closing statement they always leaned on. We love both our children equally and trust them to care for one another. Translation: Harry gets rewarded, and I'm expected to keep cleaning up after him forever. I stood there, steady on the outside, but boiling on the inside. It wasn't anger at first, more like the final confirmation of what I'd always suspected. I had sacrificed opportunities, stayed close because Mom claimed she couldn't sleep if I moved away, carried every problem like it was my duty, only for them to erase me with a single document. And Harry, who never paid a bill, who couldn't even chip in for groceries, who pawned his things for equipment he didn't need, he was set to inherit it all. I put the folder back, already knowing the excuses I'd hear. You'll be fine. You're steady. Harry needs it more. Only this time, I was done being steady for them. That night, with the will burned into my mind, I confronted them. Mom was in the kitchen, Dad at the table, Harry on the couch strumming his guitar like he was deep in thought. I dropped the folder on the table. "So this is it?" I asked. Dad stiffened. "Son, you have to understand." "No." I cut him off. "You wrote me out like I never existed." Mom tried her soothing voice. "It's Sep's not about you, honey. Harry just needs more stability. You Sep's already successful. You don't Sep's need us to leave you anything." There it was, the family motto. You're fine, Harry isn't. Harry just sat there smirking, like he won something. I snapped. You stare really betting the house on him? The guy hasn't worked in years, still eats your food, wastes electricity recording songs no one hears, and you think he deserves this? Dad barked at me not to disrespect my brother. Harry finally spoke, strumming a chord for emphasis. Not my fault you picked the boring life, man. I stepped chasing dreams. I laughed. Dreams. You've been standing still so long. The dream probably filed a missing person SIPS report. That shut him up. But Mom jumped in again. Stop, this isn't a competition. We just know you still be fine without our help. Harry needs this. And there it was again. Entitlement, disguised as compassion. I realized there was no point. They never listened. So I walked out. But this time, I didn't just cool off. I quietly cut every lifeline. I canceled the autopays for their bills, stopped pharmacy pickups, paused grocery deliveries, and deleted the reminders I set to check their accounts. No speech, no warning, just silence. If they thought I was their foundation, I'd let them see what happens when it disappears. Then came the next betrayal. While boxing up old things, I noticed my watch missing. A stainless steel one, gifted by a close friend. I called a buddy who works at a pawn shop. He remembered it immediately. Yeah, your brother brought it in last month. Said it was his. Of course, Harry. I drove straight to my parents' house. Walked in, found him eating cereal. Where's my watch? I asked. He smirked. Relax, man. You weren't using it. I needed cash. You good with money. You get another. Before I could respond, Mom stepped in, laundry basket in hand. Dawn make a scene. Harry needed the money. You knew? I asked, stunned. She looked away. He promised he pay it back. I laughed bitterly. Pay it back with what? Streams from his garage demos? Harry slammed his spoon down. This is why no one likes dealing with you. You make everything a big deal. It's just a watch. No, I said, stepping closer. It's the principle. You steal, and they defend you. That's this family in a nutshell. Dad muttered for me not to escalate. But I was already done. I looked Harry in the eye. You're not my problem anymore. Then at my parents. Neither are you. And I left. That night, sitting alone, I thought about every bill, every sacrifice, every favor that was treated like an obligation. After the will, the excuses, and the theft they covered up, it was over. This time, they'd finally feel what life is like without me propping it up. The silence didn't last long. The texts started rolling in. First, Dad, water bill high this month. Can you check? Then Mom, out of meds. Can you grab them? Finally Harry, yo, no groceries. You still have that delivery app? I stared at the messages, felt the phone buzz in my hand, and let them sit unanswered. No replies, no excuses, just silence. By the second week, their tone shifted. Mortgage due, send what you usually do. Don't ignore us. This is serious. Quit being dramatic. Just cover it like always. Those last two words, like always, said everything. It wasn't a request. It was an instruction they expected me to follow by habit. Then the guilt machine kicked in. My phone rang. Aunt Lori. She never called unless something was wrong. Sweetie, she cooed, with that practiced sympathy older relatives use. Perfect timing. Your mom's worried sick. You've been distant. Is everything okay? I reclined and kept my cool. I'm fine, Aunt Lori. I didn't tell her I'd been footing their bills for years. She offered the familiar dodge. Families help each other, dear. Maybe just talk to them, she said. She wouldn't get involved, yet she was already carrying their water. I hung up before she could prod further. It was obvious. If I refused to quietly bankroll their lives, they'd start a smear campaign. Facebook was the obvious first stop. Mom posted a smiling selfie of her and Dad with the caption, "We gave everything to our children. Sometimes love just isn't enough." Dozens of likes, supportive comments, no names, but anyone who knew us could read between the lines. Then Harry shared it with his own caption. "Some people only care when they're getting something. Family is about showing up, not keeping score." I'd give anything to protect Mom and Dad. I almost spat my coffee. This was the same guy who hadn't paid rent in years, who sold my watch behind my back, who drained parents' help for his own needs. And now he was playing golden child. People bought it. "You're such a good son. Your brother should be ashamed." They didn't know the truth, and apparently didn't want to. They wanted a story where Harry was a hero, and I was the cold son who abandoned elderly parents. I didn't stay silent. I posted screenshots, bank transfers, utility payments, receipts for meds, even the $2,100 property tax bill I paid last year. The comments flipped. Sympathy evaporated. Harry's defenders went quiet. You can't argue with numbers. Receipts speak louder than slogans. After I posted the proof, I went dark. The quieter I got, the more frantic they became. Behind their posts, panic showed bills were piling up, the mortgage slipping. For the first time in years, the safety net wasn't there. They'd thought public shame would force me back. Instead, they were revealing why I left. I won't lie. I enjoyed the moment. Their house had been 90 days behind before I cut them off. Foreclosure was already looming. All my help had only delayed the inevitable. When the notice dropped, it felt like the hammer finally fell. What surprised me was how quickly Harry's collapse spilled into the street. One Tuesday night, walking back from the gym with earbuds in, a beaten sedan pulled up. 3 rough-looking guys got out. "You Harry's brother?" one barked. I removed an earbud. "Depends who's asking. He owes us," another said. "Said you were backing him. Time to pay up." I laughed. "Nope, you've got the wrong guy." The tallest jabbed me. "Don't play dumb. He says his brother covers him." Then it clicked. Harry had been borrowing from sketchy lenders, naming me as the safety net. I told them straight. "Find him, not me." The lead guy sneered. "Looks like you're both running a scam. Which one is lying?" Another shoved me. Adrenaline kicked in. I didn't freeze. I shoved back, landed clean, ducked a wild swing, hit a rib, slammed a hand against a car hood, enough to make them back off. I called 911 right there. 3 men just tried to assault me. I told dispatch. They cursed. One threatened revenge. I smiled and said, "Good luck finding my brother. He's allergic to responsibility." 5 minutes later, the cruiser arrived. I showed the officers Harry's text. "Don't worry, my brother always covers me," along with the usual family messages and the Facebook posts. The story fell apart. With bruises the attackers couldn't explain, and Harry's own words on my phone. The cops warned them off. As they left, one shouted, "We'll find your brother." I called back, "Good luck." 2 hours later, a furious Harry pounded on my door. He shoved past me, red-faced. "What the hell is wrong with you? Why'd you call the cops? You're making me look bad." I stared. "3 guys showed up over your loans. They came to jump me." He waved it off. "They're friends helping me out. You'll make it worse calling the police." I couldn't believe it. "Friends? They tried to attack me over your debts, Harry." He threatened to tell Mom and Dad that I was making things worse. I laughed. "Those are the same parents who cover your mess as the house slides toward foreclosure. I'm sure they'll take your side." He tried to intimidate me, puffed himself up, and something snapped. I didn't plan it. I swung. My fist connected with his jaw. He staggered back into the wall, clutching his face. "You ever drag my name into your scams again," I said quietly, "and you won't just be explaining yourself to Mom and Dad. You'll be explaining yourself to me." I grabbed his shirt and shoved him into the hallway, slammed the door, and for the first time in years felt something I hadn't in a long time, clear, resolute, without guilt. Harry wasn't just lazy, he was a liability. If he thought using me as cover was fine, he was about to learn how fast I could burn that bridge. 2 days later at work, I was catching up on emails when the receptionist buzzed. 3 people were here asking for me, Mr. and Mrs. Rivers, and a man who claimed to be my brother. Of course they had escalated from texts and posts to showing up at my office. "Tell them I'm not available," I said. They said it was urgent. I let them wait. Finished my emails, wrapped up a meeting, and only an hour later walked down to the lobby. There they were, Mom clutching her purse like it held answers. Dad stiff with arms crossed, Harry leaning on the wall, still bruised from the punch I'd given him. They straightened as I approached. Mom tried first. "Calm, son. We need to talk." I folded my arms. "Talk fast." "Sep got work." Dad stepped in. "You Stit really let us lose the house after everything we Sep done for you." I tilted my head. "You mean everything I Sep done for you?" He bristled. "We raised you, fed you, clothed you. You owe us." I laughed, sharp enough to turn heads nearby. "Fed me? I've been feeding you for 10 years. Clothed me? I paid your furnace, car insurance, property taxes. Thousands to keep foreclosure away, erased every time." I pulled out my phone, scrolled, and held it up. Mortgage, 11 grand. Furnace 4. Utilities, meds, groceries. Year after year. Want receipts? I've got them all. Mom Sep's lip trembled. "We didn't Sep mean to hurt you. You Sep always been strong. Harry just needs more support." Harry scoffed. "You make it sound like I sipped him lazy. I sip been working. Music isn't sipped easy." I barked a laugh. "Music? You mean clips with under 200 views? That sip's not a career? It sip's a hobby. You sip dragging everyone down to fund it." His face flushed. "You Sitcher jealous? Of being a parasite?" I shot back. Dad snapped, pulling out a manila envelope. "Enough. Sign this. You have a responsibility to this family." I didn't touch it. "What is it?" "Just paperwork. Authorization for the mortgage. A few signatures." I smirked. "Cute. You tried this pawn shop scam before. You think I still sign myself onto Harry Sep's debts? Not happening." Mom panicked. "It sits just formality, sweetheart. If you care, you sit'll sign." I shook my head. "If I sign, I sipped 'em legally tied to your mess." Dad Sep's face twisted. "You Stit refuse your own parents after we gave you everything?" I leaned close. "You didn't give me everything. I gave you everything. Now you stutter at my workplace, trying to trick me into signing away my future. That set's not parenting. That set's manipulation." Harry muttered. "You stare making this worse." I turned to him. "Worse? Your loan sharks already showed up at my door. You dragged me into your scams, and now you want me legally bound. This isn't sept worse. It's sep's reality." By now co-workers were listening. I didn't care. Let them hear. Dad straightened. "You still regret this?" I smiled. "I already regret helping you this long." Silence hit them. For once, the guilt, threats, and fake paperwork bounced off. I stepped back toward the elevators. "Don't come here again. Don't call my job. You chose Harry. Let him save you." I left them standing in the lobby, exposed and powerless. The foreclosure notice finally dropped. They'd sold tools, jewelry, even furniture I'd bought, but it barely touched the debt, so it wasn't a shock when they showed up again. This time at my apartment. The buzzer lit at 9 p.m. I checked the monitor. Mom and Dad looked hollow. Harry stood behind them, arms crossed, fake confidence on his face. I buzzed them in. In my living room, Mom clutched her purse. Dad carried a folder. Harry leaned smugly against the wall. Mom Sep's voice shook. "Please, we set her out of time. We need you. I leaned on the counter. Need me. That sip's all you sip ever needed. Never cared what I wanted, just what I could do. Dad slapped the folder on the table. Final notice. The bank one set budge. If you don't set step in, we lose the house. Correction, I said. You lose the house. You left it to Harry. His mess, his consequence. Mom Sep's lip quivered. It sits still your family home. Don't sits you care. I cared enough to pay taxes, repairs and bills for years. But you left me out. You chose him. That home hasn't set been mine in a long time. Harry pushed off the wall. You act like you sipped or broke. Just cover it like before. You think this is normal, Harry? Running up debts, dragging me into scams, then expecting bailouts? You sitter pathetic. At least I don't act like I seppin better than everyone. Dad snapped, voice cracking. Enough. You think we owe you. You don't sit no. We only adopted you so Harry wouldn't sit be alone. You were supposed to help him. That was your purpose. The word adopted hit like a blow. My chest tightened. My ears rang. What the hell are you talking about? Mom went pale. We were going to tell you when. When? 5, 10, 20? Because you just erased almost 3 decades of my life in one sentence. Dad doubled down. We gave you a home, food, family. Without us, you have nothing. My laugh was hollow. Family? You lied my whole life, used me as a tool, and now act like you did me a favor. Harry smirked. Be grateful we even took you in. Rage surged. I stepped forward. I built that house. I fed this family. And now you tell me my life was just to bankroll Harry. He shrugged. Pretty much. You didn't adopt me. You recruited me. And I quit. Silence froze the room. Mom whispered, You can mean that. Oh, I mean it. You erased me from the will, drained me, and admit I was only here to fund him. I sipped, done. Dad Sip's face hardened. You sept still our son. No, not after this. I opened the door. Get out. You wanted me for a purpose. That purpose is dead. They shuffled out. I sat in silence. 27 years, and I wasn't septed family. I was an investment. The next day, Aunt Lori called. Her voice shook. Jacob, your parents said you found out. Yeah. That I was adopted, used to support Harry. That my life was a lie. She was quiet, then whispered, We were going to tell you. The word we hit harder. So you knew, all of you, and let me break my back while you smiled at dinners. It wasn't set your place. It was my life. She tried. We thought they sipped tell you when the time was right. The time was never coming. They needed me blind and useful. I ended the call. For the first time, no guilt, just silence. The house didn't last. Within weeks, foreclosure was official. Neighbors whispered, family gossiped. I stayed silent. Harry ranted online, but the truth showed. His music friends vanished. The lenders circled. He went from smug to desperate fast. When the house hit auction, I bought it. Not in my name. Through an LLC I set up months earlier, clean and legal. The same house they'd written me out of now belonged to me. The day the deed was finalized, I drove by. The porch swing gone, shutters peeling, grass dead. Harry shoved a duffel into a rusted car. Mom crying, Dad pacing. They looked up. Mom begged, Jacob, please, you can let them take our home. I rolled down my window, held up the deed. Too late, it sips mine. Their faces collapsed. Dad stormed over. You vulture, you steal from your family? No, you stole it from me when you wrote me out. I just took it back. Mom tried, we did it out of love. Harry needed more. Dawn dress it up. You didn't love me, you used me, now the ATM sep's closed, and you rewriting history. Harry spat. You heartless. I stepped out. looked him in the eye. "No, I'm free." For once, Harry had no reply. Mom reached for me. "You don't understand." "No, I understand perfectly. I was never a son, just a backup plan. Now I sit none of those things." Dad tried again. "You still regret this. You can erase blood." I leaned in. Funny thing, there was never blood. I drove off, leaving them in ruins. Calls followed, begging, blaming, bargaining. I ignored them. 2 months later, I rented the house. The new tenants cared for it better than they ever had. Harry drifted between couches. Dad failed at odd jobs. Mom posted pity pleas. None of it mattered. For the first time in years, I slept without waiting for their next crisis. Because the truth was simple. I was never their backup plan. They were my burden. And I was finally done carrying it. YouTube just rolled out a new hype feature. If this story hooked you, hit that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up and keeps more stories coming.